Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all an update to my Cardfight Vanguard Sorceress deck profile for October 2025. Got a new promo in the monthly promo pack for Cardfight Vanguard standard format, so figured an update was due for Sorceress. Also, just to update a few decks to hold us over until the 10th set for Cardfight Vanguard Divines is released, because we'll be having a bunch of awesome new decks to update from that booster set. But so, until then, just going to update one of my favorites from the original lineup for Cardfight Vanguard Divines, and the standard format as well, being Hexaorb Sorceress. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. Go ahead and start off with the ride deck. We have the Energy Generator with our starter being Tri-Connect Sorceress. Our grade 1 is Tier Square Sorceress. When wrote upon by Pentagleam Sorceress, you can counterblast 1 and draw a card. Pentagleam, when wrote upon by Hexaorb Sorceress, you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and you put them on the top of the deck in any order, which is very useful because then our Vanguard Hexaorb Sorceress has that added setup. When drive check reveals a trigger, you choose one of your rear guards and it gets plus 10. So on top of the trigger power, we also have the plus 10 that this unit can provide. And if you Persona Road this turn, it's an additional option for drive plus 1. But normally, we won't need the Persona Ride option with this card because we use that Hexaorb Sorceress just in tandem with our Hexaorb Sorceress Aquamarine, so it can count as an additional name for this unit. Since it's also regarded as Hexaorb Sorceress, we can have the additional Persona Ride while being able to keep 4 additional copies of this card in the main deck. Also, with this card, if you Persona Road this turn, it gets drive plus 1, and increase or decrease the trigger effects this unit gets, plus 10,000. So, additional plus 20 power as well, thanks to this card. And then a basic free cost, not needing the Counterblast or Soul Blast like the original Hexaorb. And when a trigger unit is revealed for the drive check of this card, you can Soul Blast 1, choose one of your rear guards, and stand it, giving you the added stand power to get multiple attacks for your other rear guards as well. For the grade 2s, still running the 4 copies of Octaray Sorceress when it's placed on rear guard. If you have a grade 3 or grade Vanguard Sorceress in its card name, Counterblast 1, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 cards from among them, put them into the hand, put the rest on the top of the deck in any order. If you put 2 cards in your hand, choose a card from your hand and put it on the bottom of the deck. So just, so you can keep that consistency. If you don't have any cards that you want to place back on the top of the deck, you can add both to your hand, but then one has to go to the bottom of the deck. So at least it's out of the way for the actual drive checks. And during the battle this unit attack to Vanguard, if you Persona Road this turn, it gets plus 5. So it could be a 25k attacker in total, since you'll have the plus 5 from her own ability and then the plus 10 from the Vanguard. Additional grade 2s that we run include the 4 copies of Pentaculation Sorceress. During your turn, if you have a grade 3 or grade Vanguard Sorceress, it gets plus 5. And from the drop, when your grade 3 or grade Vanguard Sorceress in its card name is placed during your ride phase, Energy Blast 3, call this card to rear guard. Look at the top card of your deck, put it on the top of the deck or into the soul. If you put a card into the soul, this unit gets plus 5. So once again, clearing out the top cards of your deck. If you reveal it off of anything else, you can at least put that card on the top of the deck, knowing that you'll be calling out Pentaculation Sorceress for your ride deck option to then have this card be called out and clear out any more cards we may want to use. The additional plus 5 is just an additional bonus thanks to Octaray. Since most of the time you will be Persona riding, you'll have 2 25k grade 2s to then be able to swing into your opponents. The other grade 2s are more of a 2 of count that we run, including the 2 of copies of Delta Pen Sorceress. When it's placed on rear guard from hand, if you have a grade 3 or grade Vanguard Sorceress, Counterblast 1, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose a card from among them, put it in the hand, rest on the bottom or top of the deck. If you Persona Road this turn, choose a critical or front from your hand and put it on the top of your deck, giving you that added consistency to at least have a guarantee for a trigger that you'll drive check off of your Vanguard's triple drive. The 2 copies of Quadracast Sorceress, when it's placed on rear guard, if you have a Vanguard Sorceress, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put them on the top of your deck in any order, and Soul Charge 1. Once again, just rearranging cards if you don't have a trigger on one of them, place it on top, because then you'll Soul Charge it with this card. And then the last of our grade 2s being 2 copies of Proud Familiar, Karaka Minia. When it's placed on rear guard, if you have a Vanguard Sorceress in its card name, look at the top card of your deck, put it on the top of the deck or into the soul. Once again, just clearing out cards. And on the rear guard once per turn, if you have a Vanguard Sorceress in its card name, discard a card from your hand, reveal the top card of your deck. If the real card has Sorceress in its card name, put that card into your hand, which the good majority of the cards that we've mentioned already have Sorceress. So just a better way to add those cards for us to then use later on, whether we're calling them out to rear guard or Persona riding with them the following turn. For the grade 1s, 4 copies of our Recurring Magic Lalorita. Now this card helps just if we only have the one reveal for our Persona Ride for a drive check and a trigger, because at the end of the battle your drive check revealed a trigger unit. If your Vanguard's Hexaorb Sorceress, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your other rear guards, stand it, and retire this unit. So you can have our Lalorita provide a boost, then afterwards retire her to restand the other unit, so we can at least restand both of our columns with one rear guard restood by the trigger effect of Aquamarine, and then the other one thanks to Lalorita. More search power in the form of Henagon Saturate Sorceress when it's placed on rearguard. If you have a Vanguard Sorceress in its card name, Counterblast 1, search your deck for up to one grade 3 card with Hexaorb in its card name, reveal it in your hand, then shuffle the deck. So you just have to have a card with Sorceress, meaning on your grade 2 ride, you can still call this card out, and then just deck thin by grabbing more of the grade 3s that you'll want to Persona Ride with. The new promo card, which I'm mixing and matching with the other grade 1, being Sector Streak Sorceress, which is Verticalong Sorceress, having the additional copies of this card in the deck. When it's placed on rearguard, if you can Counterblast 1 and perform one of the following according to the grade of your Vanguard with Sorceress in its card name. If it's grade 2 or less, you'll draw a card. And if it's grade 3 or greater, you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose a card from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest of the top of the deck or into the soul. So once again, clearing out non-trigger units thanks to this card and adding the other ones to our hand regardless for the cost of a Counterblast. And on rearguard once per turn, if you Persona Road this turn, the cost of this card is reduced by Soul Blast 1 when your other rearguard in the same column as this one stands. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Sorceress in its card name, Soul Blast 1 and stand this unit. So for an additional Soul Blast, you can restand the card that you potentially boosted with against your opponent for the rearguard that attacked. And don't get me wrong, this is a big power plus to use in the deck also. So we have the added option of taking out Sector Streak, which was a card from the previous booster set that we ran in set 7 in the deck. But still, I would say Verticalong Sorceress is just so much better for good grade 1 consistency that is not search power in the form of Saturate Sorceress or restand power in the form of Lalorita. And then the rest of the grade 1s just being our Elementaria Sanctitude, and then 3 additional Sentinels being Aegis Mare Dragon for the perfect guards of choice to run. And then our Regalis piece that we run in the deck is our Gradius Cordell. I still like running this in the deck for the Persona Ride power to at least have a consistent Persona Ride on top of the 4 copies of Hexaorb Sorceress Aquamarine that we run, and then the additional use of our order to do so also. For the trigger lineup, I've actually changed things up a bit for the number of triggers that I run. 7 critical, it used to be 6 and 5 that I ran for the number, but I've been liking the 7 count more for criticals in the deck, so we're running these 7 criticals, which if you have the ability ones, you can always swap them out for the Cheval Miaz, and then the 4 copies of Alpac for the additional 5k guard to use with this front trigger as well. And then our heals being the Hardiness Tier Sorceress, the Invigorate Sage, and then the 2 generics. If you want to go full generics, you can always replace these 2. I do like that the Hardiness Tier is a sorceress, but doesn't justify running 4 copies since it still only has the 10k guard. And then our over trigger being a Martinoa, because then if we get this, we have the restand of a rear guard, which can then attack into our opponent for an additional drive check thanks to this card. Always having the guarantee that we have a rear guard to attack with thanks to it also. And that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like I said, we're just right around the corner from set 10 for Vanguard, but wanted to update some of the other decks. I know Hexaorb Sorceress always gets support mixed in with pack after pack, so we may even have some cards in set 10, but this new promo was definitely a lot of fun and wanted to update the deck with it. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.